Welcome to Choices to Consequences. This is my first video podcast. I've been on audio on Spotify. I'm here today interviewing David Riggs, who is part of the C2 program. The C2 program, I refer to it a lot throughout all my episodes, and today we're going to get a bit more of an understanding of what it's about. Hold on a minute, Dave. Right, I know on my podcast I refer to TikTok George. George, would you like to show your face? Just let them know, put a face to a name. So just walk round, walk round. You've got to walk round. This is George. He's the cameraman today. He's more tech savvy than the rest of us old dinosaurs. Okay, so the date is the 7th. The time is 10:02. I am Khalik Uriman, attached to the Haven, C2. I am interviewing, please state your name.
Dave Riggs, I'm a Detective Constable on the Choice and Consequences programme, which is run from Hatfield Police Station.
Right, there's no one else present, bar George. As you're aware, you're entitled to free and independent advice. This is an ongoing right, so let me know if you'd like to exercise this right. You've had a hot drink, you've been seen by the doctor.
I should be alright.
Are you fitting well for the interview?
I think so.
Okay, during this interview you're under caution. That caution is as follows. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention, when questioned, something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand this caution, or do you want me to explain it to you?
That's fine.
It's been a long time since you've sat in the interview room.
It's true.
Are you good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Right, let's get the basics done first. Right, so how long have you been a police officer, Mr. Riggs?
I've been police officer for 21 years.
21 years,
yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been with C2?
Since October 2012.
And just to get a bit of understanding, we've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
Like 15 odd years.
At least 15 years, it may well be as much as 18.
The first time I think we crossed paths, you arrested me, or de-arrested me, for domestic burglary.
I dealt with you in custody, I don't think I arrested you.
No, okay, that's when I was in Welling,
Yeah.
do you remember? A long time ago. Okay, in your words, can you just explain what the C2 is? I know I've gone over it, I know I have, but from your point of view, your understanding, do you want to put a disclaimer in there, Dave?
Oh, yeah, I should actually. These are all my views, my personal views, nothing to do with the organisation that I work for.
Yes, okay, this is
so
your point of view.
Purely my
yes.
views, my point of view.
Okay.
C2
yes.
programme is basically a programme that's designed to tackle persistent offenders committing acquisitive crimes. By acquisitive I mean burglaries, dwelling burglaries, commercial burglaries, vehicle crime as well, crimes that have a high impact on the community. The programme was set up, I think, towards the end of 2006 by Judge Baker, because I think he was basically fed up with seeing the same people being put before him.
Right.
He had a chat with police at the time, whoever was in charge.
Right.
Probation said, look, why are we getting the same people in front of us all the time? What can we do to break the cycle? On the back of that, C2 was formed, Choice and Consequences programme. On the back of that, 3.5-year order. People, what causes problem? People come out of prison, they've got nowhere to live, they've got no script, no
That's
money.
True. That's true.
No chance of
Yeah.
rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Judge said, right, okay, let's sort this out. At the end of the 3 years, you should, in theory, be clean and tidy, if not clean and tidy, stable.
Okay.
So during the time, you spend a month on bail,
Right.
where you're arrestable if there's any breaches. You have a curfew that is backed by EMS, so that's electronic curfew, so that's generally 7 o'clock at night.
Electronic
till 8 in the
monitoring,
morning.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, additionally on top of that, because people are chaotic, they've also got a GPS tracker. So we know where they are 24 hours a day.
Right.
That either gets them in trouble or keeps them out of trouble.
That's right. That's right.
One of our previous candidates got in trouble because it showed that individual committing a burglary, going up the stairs, going into the property, a little bit awkward.
And it's accurate. The GPS thing is very accurate.
It is accurate to about 2 feet.
Right.
So it's close enough. Another one of my people, he was going to get nicked for a very serious assault in
Right.
London, and the CCTV images did very much look like him.
Right.
However, after checking Buddy,
Right.
we could show that he was in bed, clearly
Okay.
nothing to do with him.
Okay.
So it'll either get you in trouble
Or
keep you out of trouble.
it can get you out of trouble.
Yeah, so it's pretty
yeah.
good.
Because you can't argue with it.
No,
Okay, so when you started C2, I remember back then it was for people who were doing burglaries, domestics at first, then it went on to commercials. And I couldn't join it then because my crimes, I mean, I've discussed them, but my crimes weren't that at the time.
Yeah.
From then till now, I know it's changed, and I was a bit of a guinea pig because I was like one of the first ones that wasn't a burglar
Yeah.
to get on it. And do you think by them changing that, opening the doors up a bit more, it's allowed you more candidates and more clients on the C2, or can you be a bit more picky?
I think we have to change with the times. If you've got somebody that is consistently causing problems in Hertfordshire,
Right.
the stumbling block is C2 is a 3.5 year programme.
Sorry, just in Hertfordshire. It's only in Hertfordshire.
Just in
C2.
Hertfordshire,
Right.
Bedfordshire have got a similar thing called PI.
Right. Right.
But C2, you have to live in Hertfordshire.
Right.
You have to be an adult.
And your crimes have to be in
Yeah.
Hertfordshire.
Yeah, and you have to be non-violent as
Right,
well.
okay.
So they're the three main
Okay.
criteria. I think we have to change with the time. Modern COVID has changed us all, the way of thinking.
Yeah, that's
On
right.
the back of that, we think, okay,
right.
we need to evolve. We need to kind of be fluid and match society. So on the back of that, yeah, you didn't hit the criteria 10 years ago. However, we're always looking to change. C2 kind of has got a rigid background and format. However, sometimes we have to tailor it to the individual that we're dealing with.
Does that mean you're being more lenient, letting more things slip, or not?
I think we're still giving. Well, it still has to be, the individual has to be risk assessed. So
This is before him getting released.
before they're kind of even come out and meet probation, the C2 team, what have you, we look at them on paper. If somebody was violent 20 years ago,
Right.
And they've been good since, you say, okay, well, that was a one-off.
Right.
Let's talk to them and see what's different.
Is that how it starts? Sorry to cut you off. Is that how it starts? So basically, the first thing you do is you get a name, you look at their paperwork, and then after you look at the paperwork, do you speak to the brass before you go to jail?
Pretty much,
or is it all you?
Yeah, well, somebody gets arrested and they're either in custody or a name gets put towards us.
Right.
We'll do our research on them. We'll look at their PNC, talk to local officers from their area.
Okay. Okay.
So we've got a rough understanding. But as I was saying, if somebody was violent 20 years ago and they've committed a GBH, we think, well, hang on, what's this about? They've served their time, they've gone straight, but then they've got involved in something else. But there's been no more violence. You think, okay, let's give you a chance.
There's a
Let's get
one-off,
them out,
there's a
let's
bit of
talk to them
madness, and
see
it's
where we
happened.
go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If, however, you wrapped a baseball bat around somebody's head last week,
Oh God.
we'll probably say, do you know what, you need a calling off period. You're not right for us in this moment in time.
Okay, so do you, when selecting someone for the C2 program, when you personally interview them, I mean, you can only tell us what you can tell us. When you meet them face to face, I understand looking on paperwork is different to meeting someone face to face. I mean, you've been a police officer long enough, and George as well. You got intuition, you got a gut feeling. Does that count for anything? I mean, when you go to the higher ups and say, look, I like this person, I've met him face to face, my gut's telling me yes, but paperwork's telling me no.
Yeah.
How does it work from there?
We get them out and talk to them. From when you see them on paper, you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure about this.
This is what I mean.
It's touch and go.
Right.
However,
Right.
when you get them out, because it's all right looking at somebody on paper.
Right.
However, when you get them out, you think, do you know what? He's saying all the right things. He wants to change. He's had enough.
Right.
Let's give him an opportunity. Then going back to the C2 period, the first period is the bail period. So it's, if you like us, we like you. Can you commit to the programme?
Right.
I think the record is about an hour
Oh
from
God.
somebody being released from
Oh,
prison
God.
to go in.
Can I just ask if I know that person?
You probably do.
Okay.
The record is an hour from when they came out.
Right.
So it all went crazy.
Yeah,
and
that's
the old
crazy.
wallop.
That's crazy.
But then we've had other people that have been totally chaotic, that have had few wobbles along the way, but they've still got to the end of the programme. So
that's good, man. That's good. That's good. It gives us a chance. You know what it is? Prolific offenders, I myself are one, but we don't get a chance. We're caught in the cycle, revolving door of jail. We all want that break, and you know what? It's a blessing, C2, really. It is, because it gives us a chance to beat our habits, which is the main thing, isn't it? I mean, we're all addicted to hard drugs, or majority of us are, and to sort our life, to sort our life out. C2 is a joint thing between yourselves, the police, probation, and drug and alcohol services.
Yeah.
Do you think one of them's got more input than the other when it not when it comes to getting someone out and getting them on the course, but when it comes to someone's rehabilitation? You know, like I said, getting clean, getting on their feet, getting well, getting tidy. Do you think one has more input than the other, or do you reckon it's down to the individual key worker, police officer, or?
I think it's probably down to the individual. Police, we have the easy stuff. We get you out, we form that bond, build up a rapport, we get the initial steps. However, it's probation that do the rehab work and what have you. CGL, they give all the drugs advice. I mean, It's all right for me to say, yeah, don't do drugs.
Right.
But it's not quite as simple as that. People that have been doing it,
yeah,
entrenched for 20 years.
Long-term habit.
I've got absolutely no knowledge or experience of what you guys are going through when you say you're withdrawing. I can't help with that.
But you must have got to know it a bit more. I mean, maybe you might have been naive to it at the start.
Yeah,
but you must know it. You've been around it long enough.
Yeah, but when they say, "Oh, I feel like this," I say, "Oh, that's bad." But I don't know the stages of withdrawal.
Unless you've done it, unless you've been in withdrawal, you will never understand it.
Exactly. But everybody, it's just the three main parties working together. It's all got the same. Rehabilitation is the name of the game. That's the end programme, and that's the main thing, really. Police, we do our bit, organising projects, linking in with other agencies. CGL are there for the drugs.
Yeah, good. They're good. They are. They're good.
Mentorship, probation are chipping in as well, doing their rehab work and what have you, engaging with the community and looking to further on that rehab.
Okay, and on that, is you're dealing with clients that have had like serious long-term habits. I myself am one. Is there like a magic formula to getting well? And when I mean well, I mean rehabilitated. Or do you think it just gets down to hard work and honesty, transparency?
Honesty and transparency is the main thing.
They're the key, aren't they?
Without that, it doesn't work. So we drug test you guys normally three times a week.
Yeah.
And it's much better to say, do you know what? I had a demon last night before. It's going to show up in my test.
Right.
And be honest about it. There's lots of people that previously have kept their fingers crossed, hoping it wouldn't show up, but you're only kidding yourself. But it's not an easy fix.
It's hard work, man. I'm telling you. But like I said, I keep referring to myself because I can only speak about myself. But trying to get clean and get well is honestly, it's harder or just as hard as keeping a full-time heroin habit. I'm being honest.
Yes.
It's exhausting. It's tiring. Mentally, you're all over the place, and one little wobble, it can send you off, and it's quite risky.
Yes.
What do you think? Do you think that's true?
Yeah, the programme's 3.5 years for a reason. If we can get people stabilised so that they can walk down, there's always going to be triggers.
Of course.
You've been mucking around with drugs for 20 years.
Yeah.
You can 30 years. You can walk down the street and you're all chipper, you're fine and dandy, but then you see somebody you know. You smell a smell and think, oh, that takes me back to here.
Yeah.
And straight away, temptation's not far away.
Listen, you're not wrong.
However, C2, we try and do our bit. We're honest and upfront about it. We accept not everybody's going to have a good day every day. Some people are going to succumb to the pressure. However, it's just concentrating on the positives, trying to move forward. C2's 3.5 years for a reason. get your bail period out of the way,
Right.
get the deferred period out
Right.
of the way, get onto community stage. If we can then get people working, if they've got, then you come out on C2 onto a hostel, either here or housing or wherever it's going to be.
Yeah, yeah.
We can get people stable in the community.
Yes.
We can get them their own property. They've got something to look forward to coming back to their own door,
That's
their
right.
own space.
That's right. That's
Then
right.
great. People have got a trade. If we can get them back into that, or feigning that, if we send them to
There's a lot of
adult
opportunities.
learning,
There's a lot of
yeah.
opportunities.
Get people working. When people are working, they're earning money.
Yeah.
They're happy. They're
They're-
going to
they're
work.
busy.
They're coming
They're busy.
home. They're paying their taxes. They come home. They're tired. They haven't got time to get up to no good.
No.
It's probably the best form of rehab is getting people working.
What full-time work?
Yeah, getting them back into society, keep them happy.
When I was in jail, I mean this last time, well even times before, and I've known people that were on the C2 or failed the C2 and are back in jail, but we talk about it. We're convicts. We're inside. We converse, and people were telling me even before I came out on this time, they were saying, look, you've been smoking so long, why are you putting yourself through it? You're going to fail, number one. Number two, you've given TICs which are taken into consideration, which are
Yeah.
crimes that they basically write off in a way.
Yeah.
And if you mess up, you're going to get charged with all of them. Why are you putting yourself at risk like that? Just do your sentence and get out. Some people say the C2 is set up to fail because it's such a hard course and it's got to be tailored for each individual. And what we were saying about earlier about, you know, being slightly lenient there, slightly, I'm not breaking the rules, but semi-bending them to fit the person. Do you think C2 is, I know you're going to say no, but seriously think about it, is it set up to fail? Is it? Because it's so hard. Some people find it so hard, and it's 3.5 years for a reason.
C2 only works if the individual is ready to change. There's the old adage that misery needs a friend. Lots of your people from your past
Right.
don't want you to succeed.
That's very true.
Because
Jealousy plays a big part.
You're a good grafter. You provided,
Mm.
and
Ooh.
lots of people be thinking, well, if I can get clicked back on the gear,
Yeah.
then I know what days he gets
Yeah.
his benefits. I'll get mine.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Listen, you're
He
not
can
wrong.
go and do his thing. We can buddy up, and he'll basically provide for me.
Yeah, you're not
Being
wrong.
brutally honest, but it does work. It does take time, but it'll only work if that person is actually ready to change. From experience, we've had C2's been going, I think, pre 2009.
So what are we talking there? 13, 14 years? Is that right? Have I worked my maths out
A
right?
bit longer than that. But
Okay,
it's
so
okay.
15 years.
It's not countdown.
No.
It's okay. It works, but you've got to have the right people. We've found from mucking around doing this for a long time,
Right.
youngsters, it's not so easy with.
As we know.
They haven't hit, unfortunately, rock bottom to actually hit the despairs. People that works best for C2 are kind of late 20s, 30s,
And upwards.
we've had people in their 60s that I don't want to play anymore. I've had enough. This is last chance saloon. It's now or never. If I don't sort my life out
Right.
now and accept the help and meet them halfway,
Right.
that's me done.
But does that decision, like, I mean, me myself, it happened so slowly. When I was in jail, I was seeing you maybe once a month for interviews, TICs, explaining what the programme's about.
Yeah.
And so then I'm coming back to my cell and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, right, C2, right, they want me to get clean. Well, nothing's really worked in the past. How's it going to work? I know they're drug tests. Like, all these things are going through my mind. But the decision to basically sort my ish out, do you think that happens when released and actually involved in the C2 program, or do you think that happens when you're sat at night in a jail cell with you and your thoughts? Where do you think that conviction, that real intention comes from, or does it come from being around yourselves and other clients?
I don't really know, is the honest answer. Well, it's horses for courses.
Okay.
I'm not on commission. the easiest thing for the individual is not to come on C2, which is what we tell everybody.
It's
the
true.
easiest
It's
fix
true.
is just to go and do your time
It's true.
and come out.
It's true.
Everything we offer on C2 is available out there as well. However, it's the aftercare. When the individual comes out of prison, we're there to pick them up.
That's right.
We're there to take them to
That's right.
appointments. There's no obvious reason for anybody to fail, because we're there for them. They've got phone numbers, they've got contact numbers.
Yeah.
You're having a bad day, come on then, let's go and talk about it.
Yeah.
The
help's definitely, the support's definitely there.
The main thing.
Yeah, and I think without that, I mean, like I said, look, if you're not on C2, you could quite easily go to CGL, which is the Drug and Alcohol Services.
Yeah.
You could go to them off your own back. You could go to probation and say, look, I need help, anything you can do. But I think the three parties, meaning yourselves, probation, CGL, being together, I think that support network is so important. You don't realise it, but a lot of work goes on behind the scenes. Is that true?
It's true.
So when we see you lot after a weekend, or after like now a bank holiday weekend, you know what it is? It's kind of a relief to get back into the swing of things.
Yes.
Because being sat with my thoughts over a long weekend, that's the hardest bit
Boredom
for me.
can be a killer.
And it is. And I was speaking to someone else today, and it was exactly that. And I asked him, what's going on? And boredom. He goes, look, it's boredom, and it's true. When you're bored, the devil comes knocking.
Yeah.
And that's when you can sway. I think it's so important to keep in regular contact. I mean, look, I speak to you after hours. I mean, I know you log off at 4, half 4, 5, but I speak to you maybe 3, 4, 5 times a week after hours, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And that phone call, and I'm not just saying this because you're in front of me, it means a lot to me, and it really, really helps me. Me checking in with you, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And it keeps me on my toes, and it's comforting knowing that the help is there. And I think you're right. I think you really got to surrender yourself and give yourself up to it to get the best results. And it is literally, look, the more work you put in, the better the outcome. Do you think someone swaying from the path, let's say, if we can call it that, imagine someone sways from the path. Look, you're giving him all this support, you're all there for him, you speak regular to him, but as you know, we could sway from the path just like that. I mean, I could get up from here, pack my laptop up, get a phone call from someone, and I'm missing for 3 days. That could quite easily happen. Having that thought on the back of your head, knowing that they could slip off at any time, is that not a bit worrying? Like you put in all that effort, and it can just go pear-shaped.
And you're thinking, you're going to sail through this. You're doing really well. You're making the right waves.
Right.
You're doing really well. And as you say, then they have a change of plan, whether it's a long weekend or bank holiday weekend,
boredom,
or whatever. Boredom. Go on a bender.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Wow,
Oh God.
you turn into a crime wave to commit crime to fund their drug addiction.
Yeah, it happens, and it has happened. And it has happened.
And in the cold light of day, when we catch up with them, they say, I really regret doing that. I was doing so well. You were. However, it's awkward. Because you're thinking, how can this person have another go or carry on the C2 if you left a trail of devastation behind you?
Okay.
But this is where it is tailor-made.
Right.
Because the judge will then, quite often, that person, if they've caused a crime wave, that they're going to get charged with offences.
Definitely.
They're going to go put before the next call.
Yep.
The judge is then going to sit down, make an informed decision after talking to us and what have you, and say, look, can we carry on working with that person, or have they slipped
back
too
to
far?
jail? It's as simple as that.
You're going to have to go back and do your custody time.
And if there's imagine, I mean, it's hypothetically now, watch this. Imagine someone falls off the path. Again, we're using that. Imagine someone falls off the path, but they go on a bender but they don't commit crime. Now for you to, I mean, they come back, they test positive for everything, and they do it again and again and again. Where is the point where you lot say, look, I know you're not committing crime, but your using is getting out there now. You need to rein it in. When is that point? Or is that you? Is that drug and alcohol? Is that probation? Does that happen? And if it does, who instigates the start of that?
It does happen. It's happened before with a lad. He wasn't going on. We had little mini benders and what have you.
Right.
But the judge said, you know what? Well done. You're not committing crime with
Okay.
danger drugs.
Yeah.
You're working. You're doing this. However, you cannot graduate from C2.
Right.
Testing
Okay.
positive every week.
And this is even after 3 years. That means you can't pass it
this-
basically.
He was coming up to 3.5 years. So in the end, the judge gave him. He didn't complete C2. He got a suspended sentence, and he had a minor fine of some token gesture.
Right.
So
Right.
he was still he got to the end of the program. He was still
Okay.
using drugs, and the
Okay.
judge said no, you can't graduate. You can't get your certificate and what have you.
Oh wow.
However,
Wow.
that fella wasn't committing crime anymore.
Right.
It's not right. It's not okay that he's still using drugs.
Right.
However, we've got to be proactive, thinking, well, you've been around the block. How easy is it to find drugs if you really want to?
Listen, come on, it's not hard.
But he's
It's
not
hard.
committing crime.
And who weighs that up though? What do you say? Look, his crimes are so serious and so bad. It's a plus. He's not committing
Yes.
crime, but he's not reining it in either.
Yeah. Well, he was a burglar, so everybody knew when he'd been round
Oh God.
your house, he caused absolute chaos. But he said, well, I enjoy cannabis. And that was it. And the judge said, you can't complete C2.
wow.
He got to within a month of finishing. The judge said, no, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a suspended sentence. I'm going to give you a token gesture fine.
Right.
Because you can't finish C2
Right.
still being an active drug user.
Okay. And with that, like you're saying about the suspended sentence, imagine someone's in jail now. We get caught for a crime, and that crime, if you were to go guilty, throw yourself at the mercy of the court, you're looking at a year. Let's just say that. But you still offer people like that C2. I mean, regardless of that.
Yeah.
And then, like, back to what you're saying, it's easier to just do my sentence because C2's 3.5 years, and my sentence would only be a year. That person's got to be really committed to it.
Well,
do you not think that?
As you say, if you're going to get you've been charged with a burglary,
Yeah.
whether it's come back from ages ago or you
Yeah.
did it last week.
Yeah.
The easiest option is to do your time. If you're going to plead guilty for it, I mean, what are you going to get for a burglary, a dwelling burglary or commercial burglary?
Well, commercial burglaries, you get a few months. I mean, I done one and got 16 weeks.
Okay.
Dwelling burglaries, they're a bit harsher on them.
Yeah.
So you can get 3 years for them.
3
you can get
years.
2 years for them.
Okay.
18 months
Okay,
people have
so
got.
let's say you're going to get 3 years for a dwelling burglary.
Yeah.
If you're going to plead guilty, straight away you're going to get time knocked
Yeah,
off.
so 2 year, 2 months, roughly,
Okay.
whatever.
Then again, remand time, you're going to get that knocked off.
Yeah,
Then if you're eligible for a home detention curfew
Yeah.
order,
yeah,
you're going to
another
get time
few
knocked
months,
off
yeah,
for that. So
yeah.
you think, well, that is by far the easiest fix.
easily.
However, if you want change, you want to
And
sort
it's
your
that,
life out,
it's that.
C2 is the way forward. It's the aftercare that C2 is all about.
And talking about the aftercare, I mean, look, God willing, touch wood, fingers crossed, I get to the end. I mean, I'm 14, 15 months in, so I've got whatever long left. Imagine I get to the end of it, and hopefully all is well. What happens then? Is it literally 3.5 years, sealed, certificate, boom, and booted out the door? Or is there aftercare after aftercare?
Yeah, well,
Because C2 is the aftercare, so is
C2
there
is the
aftercare after
aftercare.
that?
After 3.5 years, it's not just a case of, oh yeah, well done, click, you've finished, off you go into the big
Right,
wide world.
right.
C2 is still going to be there.
Still support for the
Still
client.
there, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
All our numbers, well, hopefully they're going to stay the same.
No, but
if
we
they
can
change-
still ring you, even
Yeah,
though
you
we're
still
like
ring
5
us.
years, 6 years, 7 years down the
If you
line.
can't get our mobile number, all you've got to do is dial 101 and
Yeah,
ask to be put
yeah,
through.
yeah.
There's going to be somebody from the team. We do move on occasionally.
Right.
However, people are still there, still contactable, and you think, same as probation, in the time you've been with probation, you haven't had the same officer.
No, I mean,
so-
we've been through 5 already
Yeah.
this year for different reasons.
Yeah. So there's still a support network from there. Just because you finished C2 doesn't
Right.
mean that we're going to wash our hands with you. We're still there. We still help you, and we'll still do our
That's
best for you.
good. That's good
It's
to
an
hear.
ongoing support thing.
That's good to hear because that could be quite a worry for a client, you know, for someone who's on C2, because a lot of us are alone. We don't have family support. I mean, luckily I do, but I've worked to get that support back.
Yes.
But there was a time where they all turned their back on us, and you know what? They have to. They got no choice. We're so much of a menace. We've done so much skullduggery that they've got no choice. You know.
Trust is broken.
All the bridges are burnt. So when it comes to support, I mean, the aftercare package, I think that's just as important as when you're on the C2. 3.5 years, but after 3.5 years, you should be in a bit more of a better place.
Yeah, but there's
mentally,
still little
physically.
dramas. You can always have a little drama, even if you're 3.5 years in, as we were saying
That's
before.
right. It's 100%
Temptation
true.
always there.
100%
Sometimes
true.
you just need to have a little chat, get your feet back on the ground, take it
That's
easy.
why I appreciate the calls from you.
Yeah.
Every day, every other day, they mean a lot to me, because they keep me straight, man. Is there any changes like you would like to see? I know these are your opinions; they're not C2s on the whole.
Yeah.
They're your opinions. But would you like to see? What would you like to see if you could press a button and change something? What would it be, and why?
It's a tough one. I don't really know. We have to change with the times. Whereas before you hit the criteria, C2 has changed. We're looking to expand. Take
In
on
what
different
way?
Forms. Well, it's always been for acquisitive crime,
Right.
burglars, vehicle crime,
Right.
what have you. However, as you know, it's now expanded. But to expand it, the pulling power of C2 is basically a 3.5 year community order. Yeah, you're out in the community for 3.5 years. The prison sentence. If we said before, if you're going to do it,
Mine was 7.
Yeah.
I would have got 7 for
Okay.
my crime.
so for you would have got 7. But if you're a shoplifter, and you can be a persistent shoplifter,
Yeah.
you're only ever going to get, in the worst case scenario, 6 months at a time.
Yeah, that's right.
So you can cause a lot of chaos. You can go around stealing.
Loads.
Well, you
Loads.
steal a bottle of whiskey.
Loads.
It's going to be 20 quid. You're
Yeah.
only going to get £10
Yeah.
max for that.
Yep.
You can cause a lot of chaos. However, would somebody who's a persistent shoplifter ever want to sign up for C2 because it wouldn't be in their best interests?
It gets back to that thing I was saying about, you know, what would you get as a sentence, or going up against 3.5 years C2? Because C2 is like having a sentence, but out here.
Yeah.
You've got to do you can't beat time. You've got to do this whole 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Although when you start, I mean, you can answer this. When you first start C2, the groups you're doing, do they get a bit more easier or lessen as time goes on? So like 2 years in, where you're a bit, okay, you're doing well, we're a bit standoffish now.
Yeah.
Do what you're doing, we'll see you once a week.
In the early days, we have contact with you either
Every day.
by face or by phone
Every day.
Every day.
Yep.
However, the further you get on, well, you don't need to hold your hand.
Is that
anymore.
with trust? Is that earned with trust?
Slowly, we're kind of preparing you, stepping back.
Right.
By the time you get to 3 years in,
Right.
sometimes it's only phone contact once a week, once a fortnight.
Okay.
And then we just pop in every now and again. How you doing?
Do you
good?
think that's not a bit risky though? I'm like, ooh, like.
But again, it depends on the
It's
individual.
worrying. Like I'm ringing. Oh dear, please answer. We haven't seen you for a whole week.
Yeah, but it's to the individual. If during that time you got 3 years in, you're working 40 hours a week, you're running a car, you've got your house,
Yeah,
what
you're
have
all
you,
busy. You're on.
neat and tidy.
Yeah.
You don't need me there clogging things up. If you're still living in accommodation that's kind of supported and what have you, you're not working. Your needs are different to somebody that's okay. I'm working. I'm running a car. I'm privately renting a flat or what have you. It's horses for courses again. It's tailor made to that individual. Everybody's different. Some people are going to need more help and support than other people.
Yeah,
and it's
for
just
sure.
it is what it is.
Okay. I think we can leave it there. I mean, I hope that's answered a lot of people's questions, and it's nice to put a name to the face, or a face to the name. Again, David Riggs, attached to Hatfield Police Station. My name's Khalik. well, attached to Haven really, and we have TikTok George again behind the camera, at Hatfield Nick as well. Thank you for listening. Please support my channel. Choices to consequences. Yeah, and thank you once again. Thank you. Goodbye.